in a country called Trinidad and Tobago. This is the country I was born in on the 10th of March, and I was scheduled to leave on the 18th of March, and I am still here. We all know that maybe this is not the time that you are actually watching this, but we all know this is the time of the pandemic of the COVID-19. However, guys, my father was ill for a few months, and maybe I should tell you, I presently live in Canada, and my father was ill, and he had two surgeries, and eventually his legs was amputated, and I just had a feeling that he wasn't going to be able to pull through. Because of age, and also because he didn't take to the surgery very, very well. However, this surgery take place. He was a native of Trinidad, so he's local, and so their system is very different from ours in Canada. However, I just had a feeling that he was not going to survive for very much longer after the surgery. So yes, he did. He ended up passing away shortly after, and I went into full gear that I needed to come home and bury my father. Yeah, to say goodbye that way. However, that was around the time when it just started. I think the city that I lived in, we had one case of the COVID-19, and so it wasn't as scary as it is now. However, I left Canada to come and bury my father. Now, there's something else that you should know. My mom had passed away in 2009. When my mom passed away, I was unable to come to my mother's funeral because my daughter was ill in the hospital. She had had surgery as well. And so I had to make a decision. Do I stay with my baby, or do I come to Trinidad and bury my mom? I ended up staying with my baby. And I suffered the consequences after of not having closure. That was a very, very difficult time for me. And so I did not want to do the same thing now that my father passed. I really, really wanted to come and be here to say goodbye and just to have closure. But more than anything else, I wanted to come and just see where my mom was buried, right? I think that's only natural to want to come and have closure. So I did that. Before coming, it was very, very difficult. That same daughter, yes, she's now 13, and I had a really, really hard time just wrapping my mind around the fact that I would have to leave her behind for the very, very first time. So that was another hurdle. The hurdle of having to leave my kids behind to come quickly to Trinidad and bury my father and go back. She was having a very difficult time with it as well. So as a mother, it was difficult. Let's just say it was difficult. However, we got past that hurdle, and I arrived in Trinidad, and I buried my father, and everything went well that way. Then the COVID-19 kicked in. Yes. Cases was popping up everywhere. Everything started changing so quickly. However, there's another backside to this story. When I traveled, my passport had a little bit of a glitch. Yes, the date on the passport, because I had to go and get an emergency document for traveling. However, the date on it was a different date from when it was time for me to go back. The date was expired. So I had to go and start the process of fixing that in my country. Well, as we all know, by this now, COVID-19 is starting to kick in all the businesses is starting to, things are just erupting everywhere. People are scared. People are just not knowing how to deal with all this. Meanwhile, I am back and forth from the country, the deep south country, to the city, trying to get all this stuff done. Going to the Canadian embassy, going back and forth. Meanwhile, mingling with others, doing whatever it takes to try to get home to my child. I was in frantic because of that. However, up until now, the fear of the COVID-19 still has not kicked in. It still has not kicked in. Thank goodness for that. But I just want you to know, there is a movie that I was watching, and that movie reminded me of something. So far, I have had so many hurdles, so many things that I just having to deal with. Like, for instance, this country, Trinidad and Tobago, is now under, they had declared a state of emergency. I had to go to the bank to try to get money and to try to get some stuff that we would all need. There was no money in the banks. I think it was maybe 3 banks or 4 banks later. And then, it's kind of like, oh my goodness. So trying to get back to Canada, knocking on so many different doors, almost every chance that I get, which is costing money as well, to go from one part of the city to the next. And the exposure, that's another thing. Not having the proper Wi-Fi. Oh, another issue is the telephone. Yes. You just kind of pick up a phone here and call. The phone system is very, very different from ours in Canada. However, so there's all those adversaries. There's all those things that are the hurdles that every day I got to keep jumping and jumping. And then there is my daughter. Thank goodness that we live in a time that we do right now, that I can still see her via Wi-Fi. I can still see her face. I kind of touch her and feel her, but it is like touching her. Thank goodness. Guys, I hope that someone out there is as grateful as I am that we live in a time like now where we can FaceTime each other and still be able to talk. Because if I couldn't see her, I don't know how I was going to be able to survive all this. But however, let's talk about the upside. The upside is that I'm here, and I'm here spending time with my siblings that I have not seen for 13 years. So I get to see now my nieces, my nephews, the general, the family. And the whole system is very different. I was thinking about this. It's kind of like I went backwards into childhood. Yes. And that has not been very easy. Dealing with all the different, because it's different from how I live now. Yes, a lot of those things I did as a child or whatever, but it's very different. It is very different. And a lot of things that happened here as a child, I had to deal with, and still having to deal with. Trying my best to forgive, trying my best to just walk through it one day at a time. Not being able to do simple things like get my nails done. Yes, that is now affecting me. We are in quarantine in the sense of everyone is now under shutdown. So this is very, very different for me. I'm used to a very, very quiet home. Here, there's a lot of people. This right now where I'm making this video, I've been trying for the longest time to set up and do the video, but it's been very noisy. So if you're hearing background noises, that's what it is. It's just people doing their everyday thing. However, guys, so that's where it stands. At the moment, the airport is saying that no flights are going in or no flights are coming out. I am trusting God. However, I am part of a church. I I am so grateful for this church community because it's where I am finding my encouragement. It's where I am, because they are still doing all kinds of things online, so I'm still able to jump in and talk to sisters and brothers of of the faith, and also to see what's going on, what the others are doing. And service is still being kept but online, so we're still getting the word, we're still listening. It's kind of like still seeing the members of the church and my church family. I miss them so much. My children in Canada, oh my God, words cannot tell you how much I miss them. But however, if you are out here as well and you got locked out of your country, I just want you to know, you and we are going to be okay. I am trusting God. My pastor and my pastora, they prayed with me, and we are believing that I will be out of Trinidad as soon, like before this week is over. This is now the 1st, so I believe this is Wednesday. And I am believing and I'm trusting God that I serve a miracle working God. So, but I also have to wait on him. I also feel like I was kind of disobedient, because God did put in my heart that maybe I should not have come. But however, he opened a way and I came, and I believe he will open a way. He will open doors. I believe he will do whatever it takes for me to get home safely in his time. So I am here and I'm humbly waiting, but at the same time, I am believing that I will be out of here before Sunday. However, in the rest of this, I had gathered up a few little videos that I have done, how they do market here and stuff like that. Just some little fun tidbits. But in the meantime, guys, I am making this video because if there's anyone else out there who is going through the same thing, I am praying for you. Yes, I am. And in the name of Jesus, we all will get through this. And for those of you who is at home and you're watching this and you're scared, or maybe you're just feeling depressed, or maybe it's the first time that you are spending time alone, use this time to do things that you did not have time to do before. I am going to make a video about that. So guys, again, this is Colleen Chinapu, and don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. I love you guys so very much, and thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for visiting my channel. Bye.